Lamborghini Super Trofeo, the second race, the one that tilts us into the second half of the 2020 championship. The conditions could not have been better. Yesterday's race was an absolute cracker, it on the smallest of margins. And today the drivers go out onto a circuit with the air getting warmer, but importantly the track temperature rising all the time. It was only 4.5 degrees when the first track action started this morning. Getting any heat into the rubber was very, very difficult indeed. But with Target Racing starting on the front row, Bernal the Motorsport alongside. But it's the team that made the yesterday. Green, yellow cars with Oregon team who took their first win. That has really raised their tails. Dean Stoneman could have won yesterday, but a 3-second penalty. That car was first to finish. He shares it with Patrick Kushner, but in the end, that 3-second penalty pushed them back to second. With every further sounding of a clap. So, as the last of the mechanics and crew members leave the grid, the Lamborghini Urus pace car at the front of the grid to lead the field around on a formation lap. We have a rolling start ahead of this 50-minute race. It looks like a grey day, but that's because we're looking down in the shade of the grandstand. Out around the circuit, it's a beautiful sunny day. Track conditions still cool, but warming all the time. But for these drivers, tyres, brakes, get the heat into them. They have had that message banged into their skulls by all their team chiefs. Doesn't matter if they've been racing for 10 years, just a reiteration. It's certainly a factor. You don't want to be the fool in the gravel at the first corner. So I'm just looking around to see where the second of the Target Racing cars is. The first one is leading the field around. That's Alberto Di Folco in the dark car with the yellow flashes. The one with the red flash is the sister car. Just waiting to see if that makes a pit lane start or was allowed to get round to the tail of the grid. Just waiting as this full field comes on down through. But again, let's take a look at the grid. Alberto Di Folco, Dean Stoneman share the front row, but pole to the Italian. Noah Watt, the young Dane, making a real splash here. He starts third, and Raul Guzman does not start from fourth. Did qualify fourth, but sit off on the formation lap. Carol Bash and Kevin Ghilardoni. Look out for a charge from Bash in the first part of the race. Sebastian Fernandez, a Spaniard at home, and Patrick Liddy, that GSM car, has got good pace this weekend. Let's see how high the American goes. Then Elias Niskanen and Max Swearing showing the cosmopolitan nature of the championship as they share row number 5. Lorenzo Bontempelli looking for another good result in Pro-Am, and Jonathan Dudek joining the championship this weekend for Lippert Motorsport. Then Yuri Wagner, we're down in the AM runners, is alongside Giuseppe Fascicolo. So Lippert versus Boutson Gignon. Move on down another row, and it's Dilanta Malagamua back for more Lamborghini action in the AM class. Hans Fabry, who took the Lamborghini Cup class yesterday, and all on his own at the back. Kurt Wagner, also in the Lamborghini Cup class. But I want to look at the tail of the pack and see, is the last car a car number 41, or is that at pit exit waiting to come out and play after the little mishap of sliding off the circuit on the way round to the grid. Track temperature, it hasn't continued to climb. It's 13 degrees. Air temperature is climbing up all the time, 15 degrees. Lovely conditions, but a little bit of caution on that opening lap would be very, very worthwhile indeed. Humidity 62%. That's way down on yesterday. We had not just rain coming through, but enormous dumps of rain. Not all the way around the circuit though. Made it a little bit interesting for the drivers. Well, the cars look absolutely fabulous in the bright sunlight. And it does look, just looking down the back, yes, the car at the very tail of the field is the car that should be starting fourth. It's car number 41, Raul Guzman. No, it isn't. It's car number 2. What was that doing all the way? That's Noah Watt. Hold on, Noah Watt should be starting third. What was he doing all the way down at the tail of the field? He's working his way back up the order. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that one. Oh, Noah Watts has moved back into second place, so he's had some form of glitch around the early part of that lap. Got it going again. And is he about to dive in the pit lane? No, he's just moving alongside, but we need the Dean Stoneman car, the black and white one, to get level on the front row for this rolling start. It looks like we may be having a second rolling start lap, because this clearly isn't 2x2 formation. So a second lap, very wise indeed in these cool conditions. As you can see down the start finish straight in the shade, drivers moving around trying to get heat into their tyres. So in fact, the clock has started. So that is a race start behind the safety car. Okay, so start behind the safety car. So what the drivers have to do now, not just get heat in their tyres, warm up the brakes, is stay very, very close to the car in front, because the safety car at some point will be withdrawing. Maybe at the end of this lap, we'll see whether the lights on the light bar go out to let the drivers at the front of the queue know that's the case. But for everybody else, stay as close as you can. There's no point losing a toe when potentially you get up to full racing speed. But of course, when the safety car withdraws, it's Alberto Di Folco who gets to play first, because he's the one who can dictate when they go. When he drops the throttle is his choice, and for those behind, they can't overtake him before the start-finish line, but they can get close. That's their job. His job is to try and break the toe. More of that anon. So right down the order to Kurt Wagner at the back of the field. Still trying to spot Raul Guzman in car number 41. Has he left the pit exit? Not yet listed on my screen. Did he not make it back round? But it's Alberto Di Folco leading the pack around behind the safety car. Dean Stoneman in second. Noah Watt, after that mishap on the formation lap, got up back into that third position. There he is. Safety car in this lap. The lights out on the bar, not yet out on the bar of the roof. They will be. He's going down through turn 10. You normally do with several corners to go, so maybe by the time he gets up to turn 12, he'll flick it off. And then for Alberto Di Folco, who know exactly what to expect, and then he will dictate the pace of the cars getting away when the safety car releases the field to go racing in anger. Through 11 into 12, Alberto backing the field up a little bit. Quite often drivers they have to make sure they're not going to catch the safety car. He's leaving a big enough gap, and a lot of them go for it just before turn 13. The field approaches turn 13, the right-hander that drops you down the hill. We're going. Di Folco, oh, very, very good from Dean Stoneman. He's got super close. He anticipated the moment the Italian was going to floor the throttle and has managed to keep the toe. Those behind are pretty much nose to tail as well. Out over the curbing, being cautious, but an advantage of about half a second, I think. Well, 0.445, how's that for a guesstimation, is the gap between Di Folco and Stoneman. No changes in behind. Watt covering the inside line. And Carol Bash is up into fourth place, of course, gained that position because Guzman's car did not take the start from the grid. So fifth on the qualifying becomes fourth in the race for Carol Bass, leading the Pro-Am class. Leading runner in AM at the moment is Yuri Wagner. Leading in the Lamborghini Cup class is bright green car of Hans Fabry, the Dutch racer. Di Folco really prepared to push very hard indeed on this first full racing lap at full racing speed. Up into turn 4, really pressing on. Dean Stoneman trying to hang in there. You can see the car in third place. Noah Watt twitching under braking for turn 5. Such a tricky corner. Hard enough if it was on the level, but the fact the exit drops away makes any moment of sort of polar movement when your tail is starting to come round all the more disastrous, as we've seen through the decades. But very, very good from Noah Watt. He's got Carol Bass all over his tail. Carol potentially the quickest driver in this batch. And certainly his speed through the top of Campsa at the crest of the hill at turn 9 is letting him get closer and closer to Noah Watt. But those first two cars just got that little bit of an advantage. There is Carol Bash through turn 11. Ooh, much tidier line from Noah Watt in front of him. That allows him to escape. It also allows Kevin Gilardoni to close in behind. Gilardoni car picking up positions there. 16 though, Carol Bass still holding on to that fourth place. The fourth place that was gifted to it, but really his job I thought was to tackle Noah Watt, but made a bit of a mess. Look at the gap between Watt in the almost in the middle of October and only just being entering the second half of the season. It really feels very odd indeed. Dorian Boccolacci driving really, really very, very smoothly at the front. Doesn't need to take risks. Track conditions absolutely perfect. It's in behind. How are the gaps coming down? It's 16.5 seconds between Dorian Boccolacci, race leader, Sebastian Fernandez in second place, Jonathan Cecotto 3.5 seconds further back in third, but that will be closing. Kevin Russell will now be trying to hold off Patrick Kujala. I think fourth and fifth will flip over between the pair of them before the race is over. Top runner at the moment in Pro-Am is Andrei Lewandowski. He's only 4 and a bit seconds up on Max Wearing. That should be enough to stay there through to the end of the race. Top Am runner, Fidel Live, like yesterday. Top Lamborghini Cup runner, Hans Fabry. So, on to the final lap of the race goes Dorian Boccolacci He's backed off a bit. He's only 14.8 seconds to the good now over Sebastian Fernandez. Jonathan Cecotto doesn't seem to have any answers to Fernandez's pace, so maybe the Spaniard is safe. The Venezuelan will have to accept that final position on the podium. Kevin Russell just in front of Patrick Kujla, holds on to fourth place. I think that will probably have changed by turn 1, certainly by the exit of turn 3, a corner that Russell really stays out wide on. But for our race leader, looking very, very tidy. Jonathan Cecotto still hanging on in third place. Kevin Russell nearly 4 seconds behind him, but in fact I think the next car he will see in his mirrors, but not close enough to trouble him, as this is the final lap, will be Patrick Kujla. The move has not yet been made. Even at this late stage of this race, the final lap of the race, Dorian Boccolacci stealing a bit of tarmac wherever possible, but he's cruising to the finish. The work was done with his teammate Kevin Guiladoni doing a really great opening stint in the race. Dorian Boccolacci pushed very hard after his pit stop. Now he has to push very little further through turn 14, through turn 15. The next one is 16. It's the last one of the lap. And what a weekend for the Oregon team. This Italian-French pairing, Kevin Guiladoni from Italy and Dorian Boccolacci backs it right off. No need to race to the finish because he has this one in the bag. The checkered flag is waved. What a phenomenal weekend they've had. 2 days, 2 races, 2 wins. And delighted Sebastian Fernandez, after yesterday being a bit of a dark day for him, comes through in second place. The gap would have come down 13.6 seconds for the reference. And in fact, he stretched his advantage over Jonathan Cecotto, who ended up in third place. For GSM Racing, Patrick Kujla in the end just another 4 and a bit seconds behind him. There is Kujla. He got past Kevin Russell on that final lap. Kevin falling to 5th place. But it really was a race. There was great racing in the first stint, but then 2 drive-through penalties for the cars that were running at the time. One was 3rd and 2nd. But unfortunately for the one that was 2nd, it took the lead in the race and then had the drive-through penalty. That was Patrick Kujla. Got back to 4th place at the finish. But the rules are there, you transgress and you can pick up drive-through penalties. So 2 drive-through penalties for the cars right at the front end of the race. But for Kevin Guiladoni, who started, and Dorian Boccolacci, they did not put a wheel wrong. They were always in the hunt. And in the Super Trofeo, it's about getting not just a quick driver, it's getting 2 quick drivers, a well-balanced driver pairing. And I must say they're very, very much showing that form. So it had been super impressive for them this weekend. And their sister car, just for the reference, came 2nd in Pro-Am. So the trophies will be starting to pile up in the Oregon Team Transporter when they pack it up after this event. So 1st overall and 2nd in Pro-Am. It's a good haul for them here in Barcelona. And for Dorian Boccolacci, the great enjoyment, a sunny day, wave to the marshals out around the circuit. Down to turn 10 he goes. The job done very, very tidily indeed. Let's take a look at the final order. We know the identity of our winners. It's Kevin Guiladoni and Dorian Boccolacci. He brought it to the finish, 13.6 seconds to the good. And for Sebastian Fernandez, it was a day of recovery. Poor day yesterday, 2nd place today, seized with both hands. Patrick Liddy and Jonathan Cecotto took the final place on the podium, ahead of championship leader Dean Stoneman and Patrick Kujla. A drive-through penalty hurt them very much indeed, but 4th place was a good recovery. Alberto Di Folco started on pole, teammate Kevin Russell took over. They end up in 5th, and then the car that was top in Pro-Am, Andre Lewandowski and Carol Bass, 6th place overall. Max Wiering did it all on his own to finish 7th. And another car with a drive-through made it back to 8th place. Noah Watt started, Noah Watt transgressed, served the drive-through penalty. Sebastian Balthazar finished it off. And then completing the top 10, Victor Fransoni and Lorenzo Bontempelli, and Jonathan Dudek bring it home with Guillaume Puya-Beja. So for the car there at the bottom of the screen, Raul Guzman, Milos Pavlovic, equal on championship points, didn't start the race, didn't make it round to the grid, which was most unfortunate. But down in Parc Fermé, down by the podium, a very, very happy Dorian Boccolacci will be climbing out. Hot, but not bothered at all. Very happy in life. You can hear the horns blowing in celebration as he comes in. And here's a duo that really, really starting to believe. It's interesting, Kevin Gilladoni saying at the beginning it was very, very slippery. It certainly was. But that is a happy pair of drivers. For Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, after a Saturday they want to forget, it's a Sunday they will remember, with that second place for Sebastian Fernandez driving solo. The sister car, Andrei Lewandowski, won the Pro-Am class, so that's a much better return for Sospiri's team today. But Dorian Boccolacci and Kevin Gilladoni, they must be very, very happy with life. It's been it was a fabulous Saturday, a great day with a golden end, and now it's a sunny day with another golden finish for them. Racing in European Formula Renault and FIA Formula 3, but really that is impressive. He did slip up a bit yesterday, but conditions could not have been trickier. A greasy, wet track, and today in the dry he got stronger and stronger. So Sebastian Fernandez, I expected Jonathan Cecotto to haul him in, and it's mark of just how fast Sebastian Fernandez was going that he managed to actually stretch that advantage in second place. So well done to him. So waiting for the first set of drivers to be called up to the podium. Bravo, bravo. It's a GSM pairing of Patrick Liddy and Jonathan Cecotto, third place today. So that's, in fact, that's their best finish of the year. They've had 3 fourth places, a couple of 8ths, and now a 3rd. So they'll be very, very pleased with that run. Looking good and solid for GSM Racing, provided us some great footage with their onboard camera. Second place today, Sebastian Fernandez, we just heard from the tall Spaniard. And one sense, if he does that in his first weekend of driving a GT type car, there is a lot more to come from him. But 2 drivers, you won't see their smiles, but you see the eyebrows are up in happiness. Dorian Boccolacci and Kevin Gilladoni. They don't care what the weather is, but to win here in the sunshine is all the greater here in the middle of October. But for the Oregon team, they have turned a corner. And yes, there were slip-ups from some of their rivals, but to be at the top of the chart 2 days running shows they are at the top level in this championship for the first time. So the trophies for the overall winners. And in the end, victory, even with Boccolacci backing off, not taking risks in the final laps, 13.6 seconds. They got it right. Some of their rivals who served drive-through penalties got it wrong. They will rue the little mistakes that cost them potential victory. So now we're going through the Pro-Am runners and the crew that come out in 3rd. Mikko Eskalanian and Elias Niskanen, 11th overall, 3rd in the Pro-Am class. Elias on the left, Mikko on the right. More trophies for them. 2nd in the Pro-Am class, Victor Fransoni and Lorenzo Bontempelli. Out they come. So Victor joined the Oregon team this weekend. So again, more trophies for the multicoloured team. And that means we're waiting for the winners in class. Karel Bash, who started it off, ran in 3rd place, and Andrei Lewandowski, always aware that he's going for Pro-Am honours rather than overall, so he keeps out of the way of some of his rivals and more useful points in the bag. In fact, apart from not winning the class yesterday, that makes it 5 wins from 6 starts for this pairing. So Andrei Lewandowski's got a superstar. He knows in the form of his teammate Karel Bash. Karel does the spade work, and then it's completed in style by Andrei Lewandowski, the all-Polish pairing dominating the Pro-Am class this year. In the AM class trophy presentation now, in 3rd place, Buisson Junior Race, Claude-Yves Gosselin. 2nd place in cars, Massimo Mantovani. And Fidel Lieb will be the overall winner, but Claude-Yves Gosselin there. For Buisson Junior sharing with Giuseppe Fascicolo. Second place coming up, Massimo Mantovani and Delanta Malagamua. Trophies high in the air, they like this one. And the winner in the AM class, car number 21 from Lippert Motorsport. Juri Wagner and Fidel Leib. Out they come. It's been a good weekend for them. 2 wins in 2 days. That's what you really need when you're building your championship challenge. And winners here in Barcelona. Made it look pretty easy there. In the end, they won by 5 seconds. Good victory there. Fidel Leib finishing it off. But now we will go to the final presentations for the Lamborghini Cup class. In which Kurt Wagner and Libor Voracek, they will take the trophy for 2nd place in class. Mikonek Motorsport, and that would leave the last podium trophy of the day to go to the winner of the Lamborghini Cup class here in Spain, to Hans Fabry from Imperial Racing. He didn't get it at the opening round, but he's won the class on 3 of the 4 occasions since. Sorry, 4 of the 5 occasions since, so he'll grab another trophy, appear for his photos, arms up in triumph. It was a race of some cracking racing, some great chasing, and Dorian Boccolacci and Kevin Gillardoni, they took victory yesterday. They weren't first to the finish, but the penalty to the winning car put them there, but they were right in the mix. But today they really proved that was no fluke, and they did it all over again and in even more style. So it's been a great weekend for them here at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. The sun is shining. It's a fabulous Sunday. Let's take a look at the championship points. Dean Stoneman, a drive-through penalty aside, still leads the championship. Alberto Di Folco, Kevin Russell now only 5 points behind. Dorian Boccolacci, though, in the mix, up onto 52 points. Suddenly it's closing right up at the top. But for Milos Pavlovic and Raul Guzman didn't get to start the race, didn't make it round to the grid, unfortunately. They've fallen from a share of the lead down to 4th place overall. Tightening up absolutely beautifully. Still got 2 rounds and 4 races to go before this championship reaches its conclusion. Will Dean Stoneman still be at the top at the end of the year? It's looking more and more of a challenge for him. So a great spread of nationalities as ever in the Super Trofeo if you look down the right hand side of the table. 8-point lead for Dean Stoneman. Let's take a look at the Pro-Am Cup. A victory again today, stretching their advantage. Andrei Lewandowski and Karel Bash. Lorenzo Bontempelli took 2nd in class today, more useful points for him, and 3rd in class today, also 3rd on the points, Elias Niskanen and Mikko Eskelinen. And those are all looking fairly strong for those top 3 positions in the championship. They keep scoring strongly, but none more so than Lewandowski and Bass, the all-Polish pair, at the top of the Pro-Am Cup table. And let's take a look at the AM class, and it's Massimo Mantovani, another good haul of points today. Giuseppe Fascicolo, Claude-Yves Gosselin for Buisson Gignon Racing. They're 20 points down, but just 1 ahead of Juri Wagner. Juri's got Fidel Leib has joined him late in the season. They're a pairing, but obviously with Fidel joining late on, he's only down in 4th place. But that's a tiny point lead for Massimo Mantovani, who's just enjoying such a great season this year for Target Racing. Top of the AM Cup. And it's been a great 2 days of racing. 2 days could not have been more contrasting in terms of weather and also the race result. Let's take a look at the top of the LC Cup. And it's Hans Fabry, winner again today. He's now 36 points to good over Kurt Wagner and Libor Voracek, who are only just in front of Martin Lechman and Emir Karisovic, who didn't come here to compete today. But for Hans Fabry, for Imperial Racing, it's all looking very, very good.